This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, and I'm your host, Jason Glick.
How you doing, Jason?
Hey, I'm doing good. And hey, John, you realize this is gonna be a 50th podcast for Comic Picks by the Glick.
50th. That's pretty cool. And due to the short timing of this, we're actually doing this on Skype today.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in the future.
That's right. We're using future tech. So, what do you have this week? I can't see your selections this time, but what do you have this week for us?
Okay, well, because it's like the anniversary podcast, you know, I'm not gonna go with any special like retrospective or anything because that would suck. But so I'm just gonna focus on something that it's like a tried and true thing I've done for this podcast. You know, I feel like it's just a timely thing. Usually, like whenever I always like to do time my podcast into whatever big comic book movie or something that comes out.
Right.
And in this case, well, I don't. There's no comic book movie out at the moment. There is one on TV, or at least in theory there is. That would be the new Human Target TV series.
Human Target?
Yeah, it's Human Target. It's with Mark Valley, Chi McBride, and Jeff Haley.
All right.
Did a great job as Rorschach in Watchmen. And, well, I haven't watched the series because I've only seen the pilot episode that was previewed at Comic-Con. And the thing is, I watched it, and it was good for what it was, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Because I didn't read up on the series before going into it, because I figured the premise of the Human Target is that it focuses on this guy Christopher Chance. He's like millionaire guy. He's like private detective, and just like all around jack of all trades who has this job. He will impersonate you in order to help solve the problems you're going around. Be it blackmail, death threats, stuff like that. And it's a really clever premise, and it works really well for the comic book medium because you can just you don't have to actually do any fancy makeup stuff to make your lead actor into someone else. You can just have draw a Chance as the other guy, and it works out really well. But the TV series that's on right now, they've done a much more literal interpretation of that Human Target thing. Instead, Chance is just a guy who just acts as a literal human target. He'll just if you're in trouble, he'll just show up and just act as the kind of guy who's going to as a person or people who are out to get you. They'll focus on him to get him out of the way, and that's how he'll save your ass. And it was a decent action series, but action episode anyway. But I don't know, it wasn't what I was expecting, and then I've kind of grown out of watching this stuff. I mean, if it was back in the '80s, I would have eaten it up, but now it's I got better things to do with my time.
Your tastes are more refined.
Yeah, and most importantly, because aside from the fact that it's abandoning the central premise of the comic book series, I have to admit I am mainly familiar with the series through its Vertigo relaunch. Because the series Christopher Chance was originally a DC Universe character who appeared in backup action comic stories in the 70s, but he's probably best known in the last decade or so from Peter Milligan's stories with him in the Vertigo imprint. Now, it's been a time-honored tradition for Vertigo to offer more mature takes on established DC Universe characters, and Human Target is one of their most successful ones, because in this case, while Chance is still the kind of guy who will impersonate you to solve your problems. It's he also has this additional problem where he can get so into character that he'll forget who he actually is. He'll start to identify with you so much that he'll have that problem. Now it's something that's touched upon in the first miniseries, which he did with artist Edvin Bjokovic, who unfortunately is no longer with us, which is a tragedy because he did some really fantastic work on this original miniseries. But the miniseries introduces us to Chance, who's been taken out of the action for a while and had his assistant Tom McFadden take take over for him. Now, McFadden is like, he's even better than impersonating people than Chance was, and that's a problem though because while he's great at impersonating other people, his problem is like he gets frightened of being himself because he's the one guy that he feels that Tom McFadden is the one person he can't fail to be at, and this causes trouble because after the assassin who injured Chance in the first place comes back to get him, that it also crosses paths with this inner city minister who McFadden was impersonating at the beginning of the series, and after the minister is taken out, and McFadden decides to impersonate him in order to find a way to be with his wife, and just slowly starts descending into even greater depths of madness. Mm-hmm. Chance has to step in and start and take care of everything. It's a really well done piece of action and character drama, and it also works because he also plays up the you never know who the human target is going to be, like in this miniseries, just in certain spots, and just it's a really well done. It's a really well done take on how hard it is to be yourself, and to just it's just a really entertaining meditation on the nature of identity, and just what a person will have to do in order to be himself again. It's great stuff, and it was followed up a little while later by an original graphic novel called Final Cut. Now, first thing, one of the most notable things about Final Cut is that comic books have gotten a lot more expensive since Human Target was originally published. Mm-hmm. The Final Cut graphic novel was a big example of the whole sticker shock thing, because originally it was $30 for 96-page graphic novel in hardcover. Then it eventually came down to $20 in soft cover. But I tell you, that's still pricey even by today's standards. But that being said, DC has probably been nice enough, and they're trying to cash in on the appeal of the TV series, apparently, by putting both the original miniseries and Final Cut together in a nice $14.95 softcover edition. So that's a great price right there, and I highly recommend picking it up. The collection is called Chance Encounters, and in case you're worried that you might be getting one great miniseries and one so-so graphic novel, let me tell you that Final Cut is just as good as the original miniseries. Because this time Milligan moves the action to Hollywood, which is great because it's great. So great backdrop for a story. It focuses on greed, artifice, and just like people trying to pretending to be someone that they're not. Now, and it also gives even more focus to Chance's identity issues after he's originally tasked with becoming this one actor for a film in order to draw out this serial killer who's been killing off Hollywood actors in order to pad his bank account with the money he gets from them paying him off to stop. Now, while Chance thinks he takes out this guy, another actor comes to him with telling him that this guy apparently that his son has been kidnapped, and he needs his Chance's help in order to flesh out the guy who he thought he killed. Now through circumstances, Chris winds up impersonating this guy, not an actor, a wannabe screenwriter who thinks he's hot shit, but no, he's just another wannabe, and winds up getting sucked further into. Okay, and Chris winds up getting sucked even further into the web of lies and deceit that is Hollywood and all the people who live in there. Now, the series works this time because it dives even further into Chris's identity issues, and it's great to see him. It's actually great fun to see him one step behind, the people who are masterminding this like this kidnapping, and also just see his identity issues degrade even further as he starts to wonder whether or not he's actually himself, or if he's the screenwriter, or even the actor who's hired to play. Who's hired him in the first place, because he also winds up developing a romantic interest in the actor's wife. Now, it's great stuff, and I'm glad they're releasing it in a nice dual volume edition with the original miniseries. Huh. But now, and then you didn't hear anything for a little while after that. Then they started up a new a couple of years later, they started up a Human Target ongoing series through Vertigo. Huh. Now they've got so Milligan was back, and he teamed up with artist Javier Pulido, who also did the Final Cut graphic novel. And he's got a great simple, sleek style. That's really appealing to look at, and perfect for these pulpy action tales. Now, I can't really give away the opening story to the ongoing series too much, because it ties in directly to the events at the end of Final Cut. But the ongoing series gave Milligan a much wider playground give Milligan a much wider playground to explore Chance's identity issues, as he winds up having him impersonate a guy who was killed on 9/11, a famous baseball player, a priest, like a convict, and a guy, and a former 60s cop killer radical.
Interesting.
So it's a great wide variety of characters, and allows Milligan to tell a lot of interesting stories as well. And he's aided greatly by Pluto's art, and also later by Cliff Chang. Who now there's only been 2 volumes of the ongoing series collected: Strike Zones and Living in America, which has art by Cliff Chang, who's not entirely dissimilar from Pulido, but he's got a great sense of style and action, and he fits the series perfectly. Now, normally this would be where my review stops, and because they only did 2 volumes of the ongoing series, but there's 11 issues left. Fortunately, my one time when I was at my comic shop, I noticed they had the last 11 issues, so I went and picked them up. And really, it's still really entertaining stuff. I mean, you get to see Chris infiltrate a human smuggling ring, infiltrate a cult where their leader is posing as the new Messiah, and also you get to see Tom McFadden come back at the very end, which is a great wrap up to the entire series, because he's finally realized that in order to he can't really be anyone else. The one person he can be is Christopher Chance. Yeah. Now a lot of the stuff is great fun, and I think the only issues that most people would have with this are some revolve around Milligan's tendency towards overly quirky dialogue, which basically because Milligan, he's never been a very straightforward writer in most cases. Like, he'll always find ways to just have characters like talk about their mental state, and just make oblique references to like how they're feeling at this time. In some cases, that can be very odd, like when he's writing X-Men, for example. But in this case, it generally works pretty well, because Christopher's scenario is the premise of the series really just ties in really well to what to like Milligan's taste. But then he gets to bits like when this one guy is shot dead, and he's dying in Chris's arms, and the guy asks him to impersonate his priest friend. Chris goes, "Damn, a dying request. How I hate those." It's just kind of things that kind of like it's witty, but it also kind of drags you out as well. But overall, it's like I really enjoyed the series, and I wish it could have gone on longer. But even so, what we got is still pretty good. And to be honest, I honestly don't know if we necessarily would have got how much better it would have gotten had things that things kept going to the point where, where there's Milligan had freedom to end the series whenever he wanted, because I don't know, it's like there wasn't really a ongoing storyline developed, except for Chris's relationship with the wife of the actor he impersonated in Final Cut, and even that wrapped up pretty well in the final arc. So like I said, these 4 volumes, well, 3 now, are highly recommended. And if you ever get the chance, and you can read these without having to worry about picking up the last issues of the ongoing series. But if you do track down those 11 issues, you won't be disappointed either. Okay, and after the TV series, well, it seems to be doing all right, but I'll be looking forward to. I understand that there was another series back in the '90s starring Rick Springfield that actually did adhere to the premise, and I actually honestly vaguely remember watching that as a kid, but it's one of those cases where, it's like I wouldn't want to. I'm sure if I want to go back and watch it, since I really honestly don't know how that would hold up. In fact, I'd much rather ask Sebastian or Jess if they remember watching it in the '90s and see what their opinions were. Okay, but hey, that's the way it goes, and that's all I got for you right now. So hey, another recommendation, and hey, here's hopefully another 50 successful podcasts in the future.
Absolutely, and we'll see you next time then, right?
Right.
All right.
Laters.
Later, guys. Bye.